Down at the very front of the garden, we can now see the Trachycarpus fortunei, which is now giving the height in the middle of the shot and obscuring the view a little bit. Also, a lot of the other shrubs have now been positioned, like the choisias. And down here we have the Camrops volcano palm, which will be underneath this really nice acer. So that just gives a nice texture contrast against the choisia to the left. So that one's been planted, it's just awaiting wood chip around it. On this side of the garden, I've basically positioned a tree fern where I think that's going to be going, and some of the Carex grasses. The edging strips are still laying around because they're waiting to go into the ground underneath the logs, but you can see most of it is now wood chipped on there. The Cicerantiums are in to edge the borders, and little red robins, which I've just taken out of pots around the front garden. We have a Trachycarpus fortunei, which is now planted here, which, as mentioned in other videos, will grow up and give height in this section. So let's spin round. So from this angle, you can see the logs creating the sort of slightly raised bed with two different types of choisia on there, one with the very fine leaves and one with the bigger leaves. We've got a magnolia, which is in twiggy at the back there, that will give height. You can just see the size of these trunks on these Trachycarpus, pretty enormous. So this was the bigger of the two with more foliage on the top, so that is my focal point. I'm still short of soil, so I'm going to have to bring some soil home from work to basically pack out the bottom of the palm, because this is kind of like a raised bed area, which gives interest. So now we see the Butea palm, which is in the correct position. It's slightly lower than the Trachycarpus, which is what I wanted, and it sort of obscures the jungle hut a little bit there. But again, loads of soil needed to pack out around this. I probably will have some soil from some of the plants that I dig out, so that will get packed in there and then topped up with just basically topsoil from work. I managed to get these four Formium, I think which variety, I think these are Flamingo variety. They were reduced at my local garden centre, which I did a little bit of a plant run the other day, and they were reduced to £5.99 each. These are the smaller Formiums, so they only get about a metre tall, but they've got really funky coloured foliage, which will be a nice contrast with the Butea palm in the background. You see logs and stuff laying around, piles of wood chip. It all looks a little bit messy at the moment, but it is coming together. So I'm just going to focus on the special offer of £5.99 for this nice little Formium. Got loads of good bargains actually. Still not sure about this section. I think that palm is going to go in that position, but it does need a bit of tweaking around it, because that particular palm is not my favourite shape. But it won't get huge in this position, but it does provide really good contrast with its leaves against the hut. You can see more plants that I've been buying from the big plant nursery. This one is a particularly tall grass. More Formiums around. The Camrops palms I'm planning to plant today as well. You can see this jungle hut area now and how it's starting to obscure the house at the back there with those new palms. So let's just take, this is sort of the view from the lounge window looking down. So I'm looking at contrasting colours against that jungle hut, that dark brown. These are sort of semi laid out at the moment. The Cordyline australis is in the ground, and I've had to stake that because of the high winds. But some of these other plants, like the grass is there, I'm not sure whether that's going to be their final resting place. Here we have the other Trachycarpus, which is enormous, trunk on it. At the moment the trunk looks massively out of proportion to the foliage, but the foliage will grow out on there and get wider, and then you'll get the new foliage coming up through the middle on that one. Not much has changed around here. See all my tools and stuff laying around. But variegated formium at the back there, green one. And as you come up to the, when you're basically driving up, these are the sort of plants you'll see. Bought this Red Star Cordyline. That was the only one they had left, which was at $14.99, and didn't think that was too bad of a price actually, considering the size. It's got a nice little trunk forming on it, nice colour, and that's going to be underneath the canopy of this tree, which actually protects it a tiny bit during the winter. So I found that the temperatures under the trees are slightly higher, which is handy. And it's kind of in a corner now with lots of plants, so it should be all right, fingers crossed. These are the planters that I emptied of the little red robins, which have now moved down the drive basically, and these plants are just placed here at the moment. They may or may not stay here. We've got the Cordyline Torbay Dazzler. And again, this hedge provides a little bit of protection from the cold, so this should be all right. And actually, once the hedge leafs up to a dark green, these Cordylines should pop against it. And the same with these, which are not formiums, they're another type of plant. I think they're about hardy to about -7. But they're yeah, like a dark blue foliage, dark bluey green, which is cool. So that's basically what people will see when they arrive at the Airbnb. And just panning around, see the topiary, mixture of the topiary and the exotic plants, all looking good. Lots more work to do though. So I think actually the topiary and the exotic plants together actually look really good, even though topiary is sort of a bit more traditional English, and obviously the tropical plants are like the opposite, but they're actually a nice, because I think the topiary is quite architectural, that's why it kind of goes. So yeah, so that is the progress update, and I think the next video I do, I will probably have all the soil packed around the palms and everything kind of wood chipped, and probably most of the plants will be actually in the ground. And there are only kind of a couple of plants that I might throw a fleece over if we do have colder temperatures, but most of this stuff is pretty hardy, so unless we drop to about -8, then I will have to cover some stuff. But we're looking next 2 weeks, I think we've got a 0, possibly a -1 at worst. So yeah, and a bit of sunshine on the way, so let's get these in. Also, just want to say that thank you to all the people that have been subscribing and clicking the like button. Slowly getting a bit of traction with the channel, and yeah, hoping to kind of keep building the subscribers. So it's completely free to subscribe, and it basically means that you will get all my latest videos. You'll be notified of them, and they'll start coming up on your kind of main YouTube page, and you'll be able to see the progress of the front garden as well as the different back garden. Actually, much more bananas and stuff in the back garden. But yeah, you'll be able to see me talking about all this kind of stuff and little instruction videos on looking after some of these plants. So yeah, please don't forget to subscribe and click in the like button, and I will see you on the next video.